Most people think they can't afford a home. What they actually can't afford is a traditional home with a traditional mortgage. But there are many affordable home options. And we used not one, but two of them to get into our home. And we did it all without a big 30-year mortgage. By the end of this video, you're going to see exactly which affordable home options we used, and why at least one of them might work for your situation too. Hi, my name is Matthew. I've been a real estate agent and a mortgage broker. But more importantly, Tawny and I lived this. We wanted to own a home with some land and couldn't make the traditional path work. So we found a different way. Today, we live on 11 peaceful acres in the mountains. We own a tiny home cabin, and we built the 2,400 square foot barndominium home we live in today. All without a big 30-year mortgage. Here's what the housing market numbers look like right now. The average home in the U.S. costs over $400,000, and the average mortgage payment on a home like that is around $2,500 a month. Meanwhile, the average rent in the U.S. is around $2,000 a month. So most people are stuck choosing between an expensive mortgage they can't afford and rent that's almost as expensive, with nothing to show for it. And every year that goes by, both numbers keep going up. That's not a personal finance failure. That's a structural problem with the traditional path to home ownership. Most people respond to this problem the same way. They try harder. They save more. They wait for prices to come down or for rates to drop. But here's the problem with that strategy. Home prices have increased faster than most people can save. Interest rates doubled in a short period of time. And rent keeps going up, which makes saving even harder. So the harder people try to force the traditional path to work, the further out of reach it feels. Not because they're doing something wrong, but because they're trying to solve a new problem with an old playbook. But here's what the data also shows. There are affordable home options most buyers never seriously consider. And when you look at the numbers, the difference is significant. A tiny home can be found for $30,000 to $60,000 on the lower end. A shed home conversion, a pre-built shed you finish out into a small home, can often be started with a $1,000 deposit and rent-to-own financing, no bank required. And a barndominium home, a full-sized home built using non-traditional construction methods, can cost significantly less per square foot than a traditionally built home of the same size. When the purchase price drops, everything drops with it. The down payment drops, the monthly payment drops, and the path to ownership starts to look a lot more realistic. We used two of these options ourselves. We started with a tiny home shed cabin on our land. A $1,000 deposit, rent-to-own financing, no bank, no credit check, no proof of income. Total cost around $30,000. A couple of years later, we built the 2,400 square foot barndominium home we live in today on the same land. And it cost around $83 a square foot, half of what it costs to build a traditional home in most markets. The data doesn't just explain why home ownership feels impossible. It points directly to where the opportunities are. Most people can't afford a traditional home with a traditional mortgage. But that's not the only way to own a home.